I don't know any pilot who's flown the F-86 that doesn't consider it the best, the nicest, the coolest airplane they've ever flown. Guys like Bob Hoover, Steve Hinton, I mean, some legends around that have flying all different kinds of airplanes. The F-86 is their favorite. It doesn't have the rock star performance of an F-14 or an F-16 or an F-18, but it's just the harmony of the flight controls. It has no bad habits other than it could carry a little more fuel internally. It's the ultimate sports car. I mean, it's just a thrill to fly. The one behind me is sort of the ultimate version of the F-86. Built by Canadair. They got the license from North American, and they continued the production line on after North American shut down. This is what's called a Mark 6, and it's got an Arenda 14, so it has 1,200 pounds more thrust than a normal North American F-86. So it's pretty much a rocket ship. I took this airplane, came out here at 43,000 feet, climbed right up to 43,000 feet, and I could have kept going, but it's a great, great airplane. There's so many people here who appreciate it, you know, who appreciate aviation, who are very educated about aviation and the warbird environment. So that's the unique thing about here is the sophistication level of the spectator here at Oshkosh is about quantumly higher than most average air shows. Most average air shows, people love aviation. They come out to see the thrills and watch airplanes and are fascinated by it. But the people who come here know about airplanes. And the F-86 is one of those iconic airplanes that sort of stands out.
Freedom through performance. At Cirrus, performance is not simply the measurement of a single design parameter. Rather, it's a total package. It's optimum balance of speed, efficiency, comfort, safety, ease of flight, and quality. We call it Cirrus Flying 2.0. Aren't you ready to feel the freedom?
The Heritage Flight is it's a special thing. Special to me because I sort of was indirectly influential in developing the program because I flew with the Flight of the Grumman Cats starting in 1985. And I did that for on and off for 12 years. And then some of the Air Force guys saw that towards the end of my career and commenced the Air Force Heritage Program. And then when I retired and they really sort of formalized the Air Force Heritage Program, I was invited in just because of my background, even though I'm a Navy guy. But it's been a thrill for me over the 11 years that I've been flying in it, and you fly with true professionals. The demo pilots that we fly with are awesome. They're great Americans, they're great patriots, and they're great Air Force officers, and they represent the Air Force wonderfully. And you're flying with magnificent airplanes. You're flying magnificent airplanes on our side. I fly either P-51, a P-40, or an F-86, which I got to pinch myself in the cheek every time I get in one. I've flown almost every combination of airplanes, you know, from F-22s through all the Air Force fighters to all the piston fighters in groups. And yesterday was the first time I've ever flown with two P-38s. So I had an F-86 in the lead, myself, two P-38s in my wing, and an A-10 in the slot. I even commented to the guys, I said, this is awesome flying with two P-38s because they're so rare and unique, and there's the two finest ones in the world are sitting out here. So it's a big thrill.
The beauty of the Release 9 system architecture is that you have two fully redundant integrated flight displays. Each has access to all the systems and data. Providing full redundancy and eliminating traditional reversionary modes, Release 9 allows either display to be configured as the PFD. Now your failure modes are much more manageable because you can continue to fly with the same familiar display symbology without the need to relearn composite modes you don't typically fly with. Avidyne's Integra Release 9 is truly the next generation in fully integrated flight deck technology.
This is a brand new restoration. It's been restored by Rich Sugden, who's a very good friend of mine, who's famous for having the FJ-4B Fury, which is the only Fury flying in the world. And he just finished restoring this thing. It's the nicest F-86 I've ever flown, and it has the big engine, and it's got a unique paint scheme, and it's in the 461st Kestrels, which is an experimental test squadron in Edwards. The good news is I get to do it almost every weekend, is fly the lead or be in the Heritage Flight. But at Oshkosh, it's just special, just because, as I said before, the crowd is so in tune with it. They're so knowledgeable about it, and they recognize how special it is. A couple years ago, I was in the crowd when the Heritage Flight came by, and I was amazed at how mesmerized the people were and how they just saw it and honored it. And particularly here, because this year it's a salute to veterans. So this is a salute, you know, everything is we're saluting veterans here at this air show, so this makes it's even more special, because what better airplane to salute veterans in than an F-86 with two P-38s and an A-10. Today I'm flying with a P-38, F-86, an F-4, and an F-15, so we're mixing it up today. So it ought to be awesome today too.